So, hello everybody, ConvertWithMoss version 16 is out and it is a necessary update for all ConvertWithMoss users because it contains some critical fixes. It turns out there was a really stupid bug in there. The tuning value was set for panning value, which has been in there for quite some time, but I guess it was not noticed because tuning is not used that often in source material. And yeah, nevertheless, check your files, maybe convert them again because you might have some weird panning in them. Another critical issue I noticed was with writing contacts, so also a tuning issue. The formula was not correct and you could have even the tuning transformations larger than 36 semitones, which could make even contact crash. So also if you created contact files, maybe do them again. There's also a neat little feature to ignore loops with MPC key groups. And key groups are here. I also renamed them a bit. It's version 2 to distinct them from the new versions they have in version 3, which are hopefully upcoming in the not too far future. And here is the option to ignore loops because I'm still haven't figured out how the MPC software checks if the loops should be used or not. And it's a bit strange. So you get now explicitly this option to ignore loops if you don't want to have loops in your material. Yeah, and here you already see the new version 16, and you might notice the user interface has changed a bit. All those options we had here at the bottom, which looked pretty ugly, are now nicely hidden in a dialog. So you can click now here on settings and you get the settings dialog. And these are normally settings you only do once and do not change after that again. Like if you want to create folder structures, add new files in the dark mode setting and the rename option. And so the interface looks now a bit cleaner. And if you look for the settings, just press the button. I also changed the icon of Analyze, so it looks a little bit nicer together with Convert. And yeah, a little change. But that brings us to the main topic of this video. We have now support, at least reading support for the Akai S5000 and S6000. This is the first and I guess also the last sampler from Akai which supports or which uses a DOS formatted disk. So it's pretty easy to exchange files with Mac or PC. So also the files can be used on a PC. If you wonder, I will never support older models than that one because this is about disk drivers and trying to read all floppy disks, and for that there are already a lot of other programs available, also free ones, so that's definitely not a necessity to support in ConvertWithMoss. But nevertheless, we have now reading support for these two models, so the S5000 and the S6000, and the S6000 has this little neat feature. It's even larger. It's 4 8 units instead of 3, and you can detach the display and put it on your desk with a very long cable, and that's pretty useful to editing on your desk and keep it stored away, the big sampler, in your rack. So looking at the features of these two samplers, they're already supported 16-bit with 44.1 and 48 kilohertz, so still quite okay for nowadays music, and you could blow it up to unbelievable 256 megabytes, which is also quite okay to use them today, even if they're from 1998, so quite some years old already. Yeah, and we have now support here for reading these formats. Why do I say formats? Because there are two of them. First one is a preset format, the AKP. So these are presets, and there is also a multi setup, which can contain, or better to say, it references up to 32 presets. So you can create a multi setup with these, also with key splits and such things. And both formats can be read by ConvertWithMoss now. So the AKP format will be searched and used if you have preset or preset library selected. And the AKM, the multi-format, will be used when you select performance. For example, you could then convert such a multi-setup to Contact or to Yamaha or to the other supported formats. Yeah, and you can find many of such sounds for these models on the internet, and they still sound pretty good. So definitely worth a look. So let's convert some sounds here to contact format. So, and let's have a look at the results. So this is the output folder, which created all those samples. And maybe let's have a listen to the space guitar. And I have here Bitwig, and I loaded an instance of Contact here. Let's check it out. Quite nice. There's also some pads, I think. And as you see, it also converts the amplitude envelope, the filter envelope, as well as pitch envelopes. And it also takes over some filter settings. So pretty complete, this format. So regarding the envelopes, I did only some wild guesses because I don't have a real S5000 or S6000 here, so I could not test what are the exact times. I guess they change more with higher values, but I only took 6 seconds as a maximum as a wild guess. So if someone has one of these samplers, it would be great if you could test the individual settings from 0 to 100, what they exactly mean in time, and send them to me so I could make this perfect. This would be really cool. Yeah, so much for ConvertWithMoss number 16 already. And I hope you like it, dig it. And until next time, make some funky music.